Hey, everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from the blustery city of Salt Lake City,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up on today's episode, we're gonna go back to the Ten Commandments in a way.
Just a bit.
Just a bit.
We're gonna just dab on
Don't think we're gonna be repeating ourselves. We're actually gonna be kind of responding to something.
We never repeat ourselves. Ever.
We're gonna be responding to something that one of you listeners brought up.
Yeah.
And
we'll let that listener bring it up himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
And all right, so what have you got, Dan? Got anything good?
We got all sorts of things. I thought I'd start with since we're in Salt Lake City and former Mormons ourselves.
Oh,
I thought I'd start with. Do you remember back during the election? We talked a little bit about this, where the Mormons, a big email went out to a bunch of Mormons that said, "Hey, pray for Mitt as he goes into his debates.
Oh yeah. It's
Fast and pray.
Yeah, it's a little
that he'll do well on
funny
his
little
debates."
thing Mormons like to do.
And he did well.
Yeah, it worked.
It worked.
Didn't win him the election, but it worked.
Oh, there is that.
Yeah. There's that part of it.
Well, maybe it
They
doesn't
failed.
work. What? Maybe it doesn't work.
What, Dan?
Everything's crashing down around me.
Oh no.
Anyway, so that was of course, the bulk of Mormons in the United States of America are Republicans. I think that's safe to say.
Mm-hmm.
Not all, but the bulk.
Mm-hmm.
That Harry Reid's a Mormon, and he's not. Anyway, now the Mormon Democrats are calling for fasting and prayer.
Oh, that's okay. What are what's their cause?
Yeah, well, they're much more general. They're trying to make it look like it's not gloaty, but I feel like there's a gloaty element to this. They're talking. What they've done is they've called on everyone to fast and pray to guide for the country. Fast and pray for the country.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know what
How's
it means.
That gloaty? How's that gloaty?
Because they're
now
Democrats.
That we've won?
Yeah, it's like
I don't hear that though.
No, I don't hear it. I don't hear it in that. It says so one of their guys. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what was his name? Does it put his name? Steve Olson, who is a caucus vice chairman, said in a news release, "We would like to encourage our fellow Latter-day Saints and all Americans of goodwill to join us in fasting and praying on December 2nd for our country."
Okay.
He said, given that a fellow Latter-day Saint was just defeated in a hard-fought election for president, we believe Latter-day Saints are in a unique position to lead the nation in healing the divisiveness that has plagued our nation these last few years. Yeah, it is a divisive nation.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. We are
kind
of a mess.
Doesn't that smell a little bit of like
nanny boo boo?
You Republicans, start working with us now. It's time for you to stop being dicks about this.
Soften their hearts.
Yes.
Soften the hearts of the Republican Party.
Exactly.
So that they might cooperate.
Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Oh, John Boehner, you Pharaoh. Soften your heart.
Okay.
I don't know.
He cries at a drop of a hat.
Boehner? He could be a Mormon.
Yeah, that's true.
With that crying, he would do well on Fast and Testimony meeting. He would get up on the Sunday and he'd start to talk about his testimony and how dear the gospel is to him, and pretty soon
Waterworks.
Just that his whole family is so blessed.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I
yeah. He could do it.
He totally needs to convert. He really does.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. It was just it's a little thing. It made it to the Salt Lake Tribune.
Oh, well, then it must be news.
It must be news at that point. Our friend Peggy Fletcher Stack has reported on it.
Peggy Fletcher. Okay. Well, I've got another Mormon story. Let's just get them out of the way.
All right. Yeah. We'll just. We're trying not to be quite as Mormon-y now that the election's over, but
yeah, but come on.
But the Mormons
are
are
in Salt Lake,
and they're nutty,
and it's good material.
It's a cornucopia of goofiness.
Well, I was driving along and listening to the NPR, as I tend to do. And I heard a little story on All Things Considered that I went back and actually found the story online. And the headline on it is Mormonism, a scrutinized yet evolving faith.
A scrutinized yet evolving faith.
Yeah. And so the whole gist of the story was, now that the election is over, and this Mormon moment has kind of had its moment. The Mormons have had their moment. Their
Mormont. I think you've invented the word.
All right. We were all Mormonted. But anyways, they've had their moment, and so what does it mean now? Like, what did this scrutiny? What did this closer look from the nation actually end up meaning for Mormonism? And so I was intrigued. I was like, oh, hey, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
And what ends up coming out of it, and the gist of the story ended up being that Mormonism is a fluid faith. It's a fluid religion. It's been evolving over the last 150, 60, 70 years, however long they've been in existence.
Yeah.
And that it just struck me. I just wanted to call bullshit on this story. I'm sitting there and listening to these Mormon apologists, like that Joanna Brooks, who we like. I like Joanna Brooks.
Yeah, me too.
But she can be a little apologistic-y.
She is a member. And
apologetic. Yeah, she's Mormon and she has she makes sense. So of course she's an apologist. But anyways, she's in there and she's like, well, she says, and I think that it's really interesting, is she talks about how the fine points of doctrine she deals with privately.
Oh.
Okay. So because one of the things that they brought up in the story was that, like Kolob, right?
Oh, Kolob, yes.
Kolob, the planet that God lives on.
Actually, that's not what Kolob is. I looked it up. Kolob is the star nearest the planet that God lives on.
Really?
Yeah. I did a whole thing. It's in the Pearl of Great Price, and he's talking about the firmament and all the stars, and then there's Kolob is the star.
Wow, I always thought that it was God's realm. That's where God lived.
It is in the same sense that the solar system is our realm.
Okay. Well, nonetheless.
Yeah, sorry.
So basically, they bring up the fact that the Mormon hierarchy, the general authorities, right, the head of the church, heads of the church, haven't brought up Kolob, haven't mentioned Kolob in General Conference since the 1970s.
And why would they?
Well,
I'm just saying that would...
It obviously sets them apart. It obviously is something that's very easy to pick out and whatnot. But what the way that I call bullshit on this article is that's true, right? They're not talking about Kolob publicly.
Right.
They're not talking about all the spacey, weird stuff anymore publicly.
Right.
But this is stuff that is... this is temple stuff, right?
Right.
The temple doesn't work without this part of their doctrine.
Absolutely.
And so
the temple movie is all space.
It's spacey. It's we've talked about the plan of salvation before, right? But anyways, so that's what it's about, and you can't get away from the plan of salvation. You cannot get away from man becoming like God, right? In Mormonism, right? They don't like to talk about it publicly, but you cannot get away from that in the temple ceremony. That is the essence of the temple ceremony.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to really bring this up, that like, if for people who are out there, and probably hopefully none of our listeners ever will convert to Mormonism, but I think we're safe in that.
It doesn't seem like. Then again, somebody might be like, yeah, well, we Frank and Nan talk about these guys. They sound wacky. I'm going to have one over and just see what they're all about.
And then you get the brainwash. It doesn't sound that bad. Well, it doesn't sound all that bad. They've completely redesigned their public image. They've worked on it. They've
PR'd the hell out of it.
Yeah, and they've made these changes in order to make themselves seem very moderate and very, very much a part of the mainstream.
Right.
And that's how that's how Mormonism seems for the first part of anybody's membership. They do not know anything about the temple, because the temple's not really talked about.
Right.
It's sacred, right? And actually, I remember this happening on my mission in Rome. A newer convert. It was when the 60 Minutes thing came out, and Marriott was on there, and he's talking about the garments and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
This guy who'd been a member for like a year looks at me and is like, "Garments? Underwear?
What?"
Yeah. He had no clue.
For real?
That is how good of a job they do at keeping so much of that out of sight, even from new members.
That's
and then
interesting.
You're like, that this temple thing is something you're supposed to go do, and it's a good thing, and this and that. And you take a temple prep class, and they kind of try to get you ready for it.
Right.
But there's so much of it that they're not allowed to talk about. And then you go into the temple, and you're given 1 second, you're given one moment in the ceremony to accept these things or to get the hell out.
Right, yeah.
But they haven't even presented all the really scary stuff yet.
Right. They're just like, are you in or you out? You got right now.
Yeah, like there's been a little bit of weird, but not a lot of weird.
Right.
And so you're sitting there, and you make the choice, and then they lay it on.
And they're like, okay.
And it just keeps coming and keeps coming. And that's how they work the temple.
Yeah.
And so, bullshit. In PR, you need to do a little bit more homework on this. It's not an evolving religion. It's just it is evolving, but the evolution is that I think they've been shifting the scary stuff to only be in the temple.
More and more hidden.
More and more hidden. The scary stuff, the weird stuff, the stuff that doesn't work in our media saturated universe with PR firms running their image for them and everything. All of that in the temple.
Yeah.
And so that's, yeah. So
do you want to hear the scriptural, the Pearl of Great Price scriptural reference about Kolob?
What's that?
And this is from a Mormon scripture called the Pearl of Great Price, which was written, which we can say it's a book of scripture, but unlike the Book of Mormon, which Mormons don't claim was written by Joseph Smith.
Oh, right, yeah.
This one was written and is acknowledged to be written by Joseph Smith, inspired by God, and sort of chronicling his discussions with God, who actually literally spoke to him, etc.
Right.
So this is him talking to God. Oh no, this is Abraham talking to God. This is Abraham's account.
In the book of Abraham.
Yeah. So this I guess wouldn't have been written by Joseph Smith. This was a translation of another book that was inspired to him.
Well,
this one didn't come off of any golden plates or anything.
No, this one came off of these were hieroglyphs that came with a mummy.
That's right. Oh God.
And he translated it and then showed his translation to an Egyptologist who was like, "This is bullshit.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with anything."
Yeah, this is like it was like a funeral rite.
Yeah,
is what he translated into the Book of Abraham. Anyways,
Anyway, so here's what it says: "And I saw the stars, and they were very great, and that one of them was nearest unto the throne of God, and that there were many great ones which were near unto it. And the Lord said unto me, These are the governing ones, and the name of the great one is Kolob, because it is near unto me. For I am the Lord thy God. I have set this one to govern all of those which belong to the same order as that upon which thou standest.
Yeah.
So, Kolob's a star. I had that wrong for forever. I thought it was a planet. Matter of fact, now I'm thinking about it. If you could hie to Kolob,
everybody talks about it. Everybody talks about it as a planet.
Yeah, they're wrong. It's a star.
You might be wrong.
I'm just reading it. I just read it.
Who's with me, folks?
All right.
Dan's wrong.
Okay. There we go. Anywho, let me pull up a little thing here. I want to go to the C of E.
The C of E.
The Church of England.
Ooh.
The starting point, though not the ending point, of the Anglican Communion.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is interesting because you'd think, I mean, if you look at how a lot of dogmatic Christian religions go, there's a central point, and things radiate out from that point, and that central point is where, things can be handed down from that central point, and then they radiate out to everything else.
Sure.
You got the Pope in Catholicism, and there is a head of the Anglican Communion, and he is in England.
Yes.
He's the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Yes.
It doesn't mean anything.
What about the Queen?
The Queen.
Where does she fit in?
The Queen.
Because I know she's the head of it somehow.
She's
the actual head.
She used to be. I mean, the royal. I mean, obviously, the Church of England was created by King Henry VIII,
right,
as a way of like being in charge of religion, so he could do whatever the hell he wanted to do.
Right, smart move.
Yeah, really
good move.
Yeah, absolutely, worked out pretty well for him. He got as many wives as he wanted, anyway. The deal is now, though, that there are other parts of the Anglican Communion that are progressing much quicker than the Church of England.
Really?
To wit, we have, for instance, we a couple of weeks ago we talked about a woman bishop.
Yes.
Here in the U.S.
Yeah.
They don't have those in England.
Shut up.
They don't have any women bishops, and they just barely voted.
The bishop in Salt Lake, the Salt Lake diocese is a woman. Or at least was. I don't know if Tanner Irish is still.
I don't know. But I'll tell you this. She's not in England. And guess what? The C of E just had a vote and unexpectedly decided not to continue not having women bishops.
What?
They rejected it again.
Women vicars, right?
They do.
Because I've seen that Vicar of Dibley.
And it's a delight.
French. Yes, it's cute.
If you haven't seen the show Vicar of Dibley, go out there and watch it. You'll love it. But no, there will be no Bishop of Dibley. Because they just vote. No female Bishop of Dibley. Yeah, so and it really took everyone by surprise, including the incoming new Archbishop of Canterbury.
I think the Queen should have a problem with this.
Well,
as a woman in a man's position.
Yeah, I got news for you. Parliament has a problem with this.
What? Oh, this is getting juicy.
Yeah. So now there's been leaked a memo from the Secretary General of the General Synod, who called
that doesn't mean anything to me.
Not to me either. It's two church leaders from this guy who's, I guess, I don't know what he is. I don't know what that means.
The General Secretary of the General Synod?
Mm-hmm. No, the Secretary General of the General Synod. Yeah. Anyway, so this memo got leaked. Oh, now I've lost my place. And it basically was like, we got to fix this problem. Basically, this is like everybody behind closed doors is saying this is a PR disaster.
Ugh.
We can't have this because they had a vote. They had a basically what happened is the Church of England got together. Now again, this is Church of England, not the entire Anglican Communion.
Ah, yes, okay.
Church of England got together and they voted not to do it. And the incoming Archbishop of Canterbury called it a very grim day for women and their supporters and said, basically he said, by God, while I'm in office, there will be women bishops in England.
Oh, wow.
Didn't put it quite that way.
Yeah,
but
interesting.
But so this guy on this memo said Parliament is impatient, and unless the Church of England can show very quickly that it's capable of sorting itself out, we shall be into a major constitutional crisis in church-state relations, the outcome of which cannot be predicted with confidence.
What? Like a jettisoning off?
I don't know.
Which they should. I mean, let's face it, they need to. But
it brings up. I have no idea what the relationship is currently, officially.
They'll defrock the Queen.
They will. No, the Queen will step in and start stripping everybody of their. She'll be the Archbishop of Canterbury.
She should. That would be good.
That would be great. That would be really funny. I'd love to hear her sermon.
Oh no, you wouldn't.
The problem is,
what was that?
And it came to pass that I'm trying to do a Queen, but it's not working. Anyway, so the theory is that they can't vote again till 2015.
Why not?
They can't start again until the new General Synod is seated in 2015. But now behind closed doors, they're calling for. So former Archbishop of Canterbury, George Carey, called on church leaders to rip up its rule book and speed through the introduction of women bishops.
Why not?
Why not? Exactly why not?
Except they are all over the map.
They really
because
are.
They've got their African members of the Anglican Communion who are nutty. They've got we talked about them last week, the South Carolinian group.
It's all very
not
interesting.
Be a part of the American one. I mean,
it's all part of the same problem, which is that everybody in England wants to be polite, and they don't like hurting anyone's feelings or telling anyone that they're wrong.
Oh,
it's cake or death. That's the thing we're dealing with. If you want to learn about the Church of England, watch Eddie Izzard's whole deal about that because it's delightful. Yeah. Anyway, that's where they are. They're in a bit of an uproar. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
This new archbishop, I don't even think he's actually been sworn in yet, or whatever they do, christened or. yeah. So once he takes over, all bets are off, or something.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Well, let's just go to the Vatican.
Okay.
So the Vatican. So, okay, first of all, the Pope wrote a book, right? Mm-hmm. He wrote this book. Do you remember the title of the book? Oh, no, I have it right here. Jesus of Nazareth, The Infancy Narratives. Okay. Wow, that is a bestseller waiting to happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, to me, it all it calls to mind is, do you remember in Talladega Nights? Will Ferrell's his prayer to the 8-pound, 12-ounce little baby Jesus.
Yeah.
That's what it calls to mind for me.
Yeah. Well, it definitely sounds like it's part of like a 3-part trilogy.
It's like The Hobbit, only different.
Jesus of Nazareth, the infancy narrative,
and then there will be and then it's Jesus in Egypt, a teenager away from home.
But all of that is just a teenager. Yeah. That stuff.
Jesus, teenage runaway. Skunk-a-gung.
Ooh.
Not that there would be any source material for that particular part of his life.
Well, there is. It's just not officially
canonized
and canonized.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's like stories of Jesus like striking another kid down dead.
Oh, wow.
Using his godly powers. But of course, they didn't want to include that one in the Gospels, right?
That's in the Gospel of Dan Brown, I think.
No, I mean this is stuff that like somebody decided to write down at one point,
right?
But anyways, so Jesus, book written by the Pope,
the little baby Jesus
book,
right?
Written by the Pope. The Pope's been thinking about little baby Jesus, and
surely this is a cuddly tale.
This is with Ratzinger? Yeah, of course. No, in classic German fashion, he wants to clean up the narrative.
Right.
And so he says there were no animals in the stable.
Right.
Okay. Or at least the no account
Right.
in the Gospels mentions any animals.
Right.
So that's not. Come on, people. The angels announce like normally are singing to the shepherds. They're depicted as
Right. Yeah.
singing to to the shepherds, right?
Yeah.
And no, they spoke.
They spoke.
They spoke, and that one he's really clear on. He's like, no, the Bible says they spoke. Okay, like I don't want to see any pageant this guy produces.
No,
right? Boring.
Yeah,
right?
this guy is literally. Well, it's so funny that it does feel very German. He literally goes through and he's like,
Das ist nicht in the Bible.
We will get this story exact. It must be perfect. There is no embellishment. This is not Jesus.
Even though the children are crying,
right?
He doesn't
Exactly.
Care. He doesn't
Exactly.
care.
He's the guy that's like, well, you know who he is? He's the Dwight Schrute of
Dwight Schrute
from The Office.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's the guy. He's the guy that has no sense of like what's fun or inspiring. He just wants everything to be accurate.
Yeah. Well, that's I can appreciate that.
Well, I think. Surely he's not the first person to notice all of this stuff, but everybody's just like, oh, it's a better story this way. It's fine. Nobody's getting hurt.
Kids
whatever.
like it more. You're going to get the kids' attention a little bit more with this story. Because kids like animals, and kids like singing angels.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Right? I'm going to guess.
Well,
they're going to respond to that more.
Right.
Nah.
He's like, nope. We're gonna set the record straight. Although you know what's funny is that what he himself said about this book was quote, I hope this little book, notwithstanding its limits, might help many people in their path toward and with Christ.
Oh, wow.
I don't think he understands what helps people in their path toward Christ.
Right.
It's not taking the fun stuff out.
No. Well, anyways, I guess the Vatican they're a little bothered by the fact that the media is focusing on this part of the story, right? Which, of course, it's the media.
Right.
But they're saying that this is evidence of a secularizing and a society with a secular media at its head, and this is wrong and this is bad.
What kind of a world do we live in when a pope can't write a nice book about crushing everybody's dreams about how Jesus was as a baby, without the secular media coming and trying to point out what he did?
Yeah, they've labeled it as media confusion. And it's another symptom of the widespread and silent marginalization of God in contemporary society.
The Vatican is calling war on Christmas, essentially?
Basically. Yeah.
So this came straight from the Vatican.
This is straight from the Vatican. And so they're calling
war on Christians.
War on German Christmas.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. German Christmas is nice. I like German Christmas. This is O Tannenbaum.
Yeah, that's true.
Although my mom makes German treats, which, by the way, aren't very sweet or very good. They're kind of dried and whatnot in good classic German tradition. They're not very fun. But, they're fun when you're a little kid. Yeah. You had all these, German shit crap stuff around.
We had German stuff, too. We had German/Swiss stuff. The one that jumps out to me in our tradition at home is the lighting of candles on the tree instead of Christmas lights. Yeah, which to me just seems like that's just a fire waiting to happen.
Didn't your mom insist on that, or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mom really wanted that, and I'll tell you this too. Dad always looked concerned and alert, but they never had a fire extinguisher handy.
Well, it was the 70s.
It was the 70s and 80s. We didn't do those things. We didn't take it that far.
Yeah, now you'd be ready to douse that thing in anything.
Oh, yeah.
Like super fire suppressant and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know. God.
Anyway.
So sad.
So far, the picture we've painted is that German Christmas is everybody stands angrily around a flaming tree with not very good sweets.
Sounds about right.
Oh, It's a good thing we don't have any German listeners.
I know. I'm sure
they'd
do.
be writing us.
Yeah. Honey cake. My mom used to make honey cake for all of you. Lebkuchen.
Yeah.
So good.
That does sound good.
That one actually is really good.
Well,
that was my favorite.
We've all had
treat this
German chocolate cake or Black Forest cake. Those
that's good stuff.
Those are all good.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like...
As long as you hit like the Bavarian area of Germany.
You get enough of that...
That's a festive area.
Sure.
They're loose. Where's Ratzinger from? He's from like the super picturesque part, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he is. I think I remember that. And being like, who knows?
Yeah. I think we should call him... Yeah, Anyway, we'll move on. We'll move on from beating up on the Germans.
Sorry, German listeners.
Oh, dear. Well, okay, so you heard of this Sharia law thing, which is of course the Muslim law.
Yes, law. Yeah,
I mean, Sharia law is basically, I don't know, how do you describe Sharia law? It's law that's meant to...
It's law based on the Quran,
right? Yeah,
and Quranic.
Sharia is a term that means Islamic religious law.
Sure,
it's moral and legal code.
Right.
That's sort of that governs pretty much everything.
Yeah.
It locks down everything.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be talking about religious rules soon. But I wanted to talk about Sharia law because it's scary.
Yeah.
To a lot of Americans, it's very terrifying.
Okay.
And there's a bill that has been presented in the Michigan State House of Representatives that is an anti-Sharia bill.
Michigan? Mm-hmm. There's lots of Muslims in Michigan. So they're responding to that.
Yeah. Now, mind you, this isn't the only anti-Sharia law bill that's been presented in our country. They're kind of all over.
Probably all happen in places that don't have a lot of Muslims.
Right, exactly. But what's hilarious about this is that this bill, basically all it does is, in this one, it would, quote, limit the application and enforcement by a court, arbiter, or administrative body of foreign laws that would impair constitutional rights.
Oh.
You know what else might do that?
What?
The Constitution.
Yeah.
You can't have unconstitutional foreign laws in this country.
Right.
You don't need this bill.
Right.
This is just a bill to say, damn it, I hate Muslims.
Right.
And I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
That's all this. That's what the wording of this bill should be tweaked to say. This bill should be tweaked to say, I'm scared of Muslims. Dang it.
And spelled like that.
Yes. Yeah. Skurred. Skurred.
Yeah.
Skurred. Anyway, so this bill, it's been shelved. Good. I mean, it's sort of locked up in the Judiciary Committee.
Oh.
They're not going to bring it out of committee. They know how ridiculous this is. What? But, it was introduced by a representative who, and this representative was chosen to be Michigan's Republican National Committeeman. Just so you know. So it's not like some underling representative that's like, sort of the crazy, No,
this guy's out in the open.
Yeah. Out in the open so much that he has made statements like, I disagree that Islam is a religion of peace. Just about every terrorist is a Muslim.
Okay.
And he also said, what was the other thing he said? Anyway. Yeah, so people are there are a lot of Michiganians who are outraged that this has been locked up. They want it brought out to the floor.
Well, it's important to make sure that foreign laws that aren't
U.S. laws
remain foreign. Is that the deal?
I don't know. Like, what do they think is going to happen? That suddenly some judge is going to start obeying Sharia law instead of U.S. law?
Yeah, that wouldn't work.
If only we had some checks and balances in place to keep that from happening. If only there was a system in place so that we could protect ourselves from this. But there isn't. We have to make laws against Sharia.
Yeah.
Literally, this should be called the I hate and am scared of Muslims law.
Yeah. Well, there's a good reason for that, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is apparently there. You know these lists that get released of like influential people and whatnot.
Oh, sure.
Well, there's the Muslim 500, which gets released every year.
Is it a car race?
I wish. No, it's a list of the world's 500 most influential Muslims.
Oh,
internationally.
Oh,
well, on this year's list,
I hope I'm not on that list.
This year, this year is dominated by U.S. Muslims.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
There's a lot.
Is Barack Obama on that list?
How did you guess?
Oh, by the way, the guy that introduced that bill that I was telling you about, he claims that Barack Obama is a Muslim.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so I thought this was just interesting and worth bringing up, because America has, roughly 2.6 million Muslims and Islam worldwide has, counts, 1.6 billion.
Yeah. They got
practitioners of the faith.
Almost, they got about a sixth of the world population.
Like a fifth, because we're 6.5 now.
I thought we were closer to 7.
Close to 7? But it's 1.6 billion.
Yeah.
So
they got a lot.
They got a lot.
They got a good chunk of the world population.
Chunk. And they're always growing.
Yeah.
They grow fast. So anyways, I thought it was just kind of a fun little list to see like who's on the list, right?
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia's King Abdullah took the list number 1 spot.
Oh, well,
that makes a lot of sense.
He's a powerful guy.
He's kind of top dog in Saudi Arabia, and well, it's Saudi Arabia is important for Islam. But Americans who made the list, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
Made the list.
There you go. How is he influential now?
I don't know.
He hasn't done anything.
Boxing legend Muhammad Ali.
Okay.
Made the list.
Sure.
Umar Farouk Abdullah. He converted. He's a convert who founded the Nawawi Foundation, an
that
educational
means so much to me.
Organization in Chicago. Hey, he's okay. Let me get to some that people might know. God,
I'm just saying.
Might be in Chicago and knows what that is.
Umar who founded the blah 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 foundation. I don't know what any of that is.
Yeah. Well, we have. Okay, let's get down to Asif Mandvi.
Oh yeah, from the Daily Show.
From the Daily Show, he's on the list.
Okay. Good for him.
Yeah, there's some CEOs on the list.
Mm-hmm. There's
a former chaplain for the U.S. Bureau of Prisons and internationally known preacher, Sheikh Yusuf Estes.
Okay.
There's also, this is interesting. I kind of wanted to read a lot of these names because there's names like Nihad Awa and Muhammad El Irain and Imam Muhammad Majid. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Representative Andrew Carson of Indiana.
Carson. I like that.
And Representative Keith Ellison of Minnesota. Both Democrats.
Oh.
But they're the only 2 Muslim members of Congress.
Okay.
Interestingly enough.
And they're both Democrats.
They're both Democrats.
I like that.
And they both have English names.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but Yusuf, Muhammad, blah, 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 Hussein, whatever, is not
It'd be hard to run a write-in.
It's tough.
With that.
I want to write him in, but how the hell you spell that? I don't know how.
I like that Farouk guy. Farouk Abdullah.
I just you read a name to me before we started recording that sounded like a camp song. What was that? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that one was
or like a 50s dance like the Watusi or something. It sounded like a
Sheikh Mohammed bin Yahya Al Husseini Al Nanawi.
Hamana Hana Al Husseini Hamana Noni.
What's the Yahya?
Skabadubi.
The
Yahya is what launches
bin Yahya Al Husseini Al Nanawi.
I want to know, are there other comedians on that list?
No, that's the only comedian.
Not Maz Jobrani or any of that?
No. Not well. I don't know.
Okay.
if they're there or not, but the little list that was pulled.
Oh yeah,
that I'm looking at
that was lifted from the 500.
Okay. There's nobody on that list.
Yeah,
I didn't actually look at the list because that would be mind numbing.
Yes, it would be. It would be.
So
I do have to say, the reason I bring it up is because I have a cousin, as white bread as I am.
Mm-hmm.
I have a cousin who's actually on the Axis of Evil comedy tour.
Oh, really?
He's a comedian, yeah, and he's great because his mom, who is his mom's my relative, white bread Mormon woman, married a Palestinian. Now, I think he's Mormon too now.
Oh, really?
But he was born Muslim and Palestinian, and so yeah, my cousin Aaron Cater. Feel free to look him up. He gets to do his in his act. He gets to say, "I'm half Mormon and half Muslim." How is that not an awesome lead-in?
Right. That's pretty good.
Those jokes just write themselves. People.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have to work for it. It's just free. He just got it. He just got it from his parentage.
Well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Huh. So, anyways, I just thought it was interesting that there's a lot of influential Muslims.
Yeah.
In the U.S.
Indeed. I think that is interesting. I think that's really
globally influential. I mean, that's sort of the point, is that these are highly influential people.
Although, again, I got to say, you think about the king of Saudi Arabia, and then and his influence, and then you think about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his influence. Well, I don't think they're comparable.
Well, I don't think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like number 2 on the list.
Right. No.
He's probably down in the 300 or 400s.
Yeah, he's got to be.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go. It's a lot of cool stuff in the world. And I just realized that I
wonder what it's like to be number 500 on one of these lists.
I made the list. That feels good. But I'm kind of a
loser on this. I lost.
I mean, I beat the guy that goes to the mosque with me. But, well, okay, fine.
I'll take it. Thanks for the honor.
I mean, if we're going to be honest, this list, what's the official title of the list?
The official title of the list is The Muslim 500, the world's 500 most influential Muslims, and it's compiled by the Royal Islamic Strategic Studies Center, a respected think tank in Jordan.
I think they're being a little disingenuous here, because I'm guessing that you won't find any Muslim extremists, any of the modern day bin Ladens on that list. Those guys are pretty fucking influential.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say there's a lot of influence there, when they're blowing people up in a market or whatever.
Well, I mean, they should run it like the Time Person of the Year. Right? Where it's the person who was most newsworthy, not necessarily the most notable.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Or the most respected.
Yeah.
Right. Because they've had some real losers on that list.
Yeah. Indeed.
Or on who've made the cover.
Right. Yeah. I just think, maybe the Taliban needs to be on there. They're pretty influential.
They influence a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you're right. They're not on there.
No. Okay. Well, there you go.
There's a secret list.
This is influential mostly for good.
Yeah.
As opposed to just influential.
Well, anyway. All right. A couple things to bring up.
Okay.
One is, for those of you who downloaded this immediately after we posted it, you'll notice that it was posted on Friday.
As opposed to Monday or Sunday.
Sunday evening was typically what we were shooting for before.
Right. That was what we were doing.
Sometimes there were some Mondays that got in there, like this last week.
Right. This last week. What has happened is that our schedules have sort of shifted around a little bit. So we're gonna Friday hopefully we found a place to lock down. So you will be getting them Friday evening-ish probably. Listen to them at your leisure.
Absolutely. It is a podcast.
You can do it whenever you want.
You don't have to listen to it immediately. Just because it arrives on Friday doesn't mean you have to listen to it on Friday.
But yeah, there will be that scheduling change.
Yeah.
From here into the foreseeable future.
Yeah. And then also, Well, we wanted to kind of do another call out just to see if there are any of you still out there who have thought about going on to iTunes and leaving us a review and maybe haven't gotten around to it. We're in the mid 80s at the moment.
We're at 84 right now.
And we thought that it might be nice to set a goal of hitting 100.
Yeah, we'd like to get over 100. It looks, I don't know, for some reason that that number, the triple digits feels great.
That feels great. Yeah.
So if you haven't done it yet, you're probably listening on a device where you could just do it right now as you're listening.
Yeah, that's very true.
So just go to iTunes, find our, search out Thank God I'm Atheist. Click on it, and then you can just write a review. Yeah. Click on Write a Review.
And we have a fantastic rating, and so thank you for everybody who has done this already.
You guys, that's so sweet. We're still at 5 stars, which makes us very, very happy.
Yeah, it's a crazy. We have 80 some odd 5-star ratings.
Right. So if you're gonna mess that up, then don't go on.
No, we will gladly take whatever you have to say about us.
Yes, we are open to critiques and constructive criticisms, or we're very also open to you just writing something really, really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so if you would like to, there's other ways of also becoming sort of part of the community. There's you can join or like us, I guess, on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And that's it's fun, and we're getting lots of people participating. You can email us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can leave us a voicemail, which we would probably end up playing on the podcast. The telephone number for that is 424-666-8442.
Yep.
And then we also wanted to do another, we wanted to mention that as kind of part of a thank you to our generous donors, we wanted just to mention how that we've been able to use some of that money to buy some software that's actually going to be a great improvement and help us provide more content and whatnot for the podcast.
So good things are happening because of our donors.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to become a donor, you can do so by going onto our website, thankgodimatheist.com. And then looking on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a little thing that says Support Us.
Yeah.
And you can click on that, and you can do it 2 ways. You can either do a lump sum donation right off the bat, or you can sign up to subscribe, and subscribers just choose a monthly amount that they are comfortable with, and then it's just deducted automatically.
It's just an automatic thing. So
you have to sign up for PayPal to do that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much to all of our donors. It's the coolest thing.
Really, and it's hopefully we'll be able to continue to sort of improve the podcast. And for example, we're still using a borrowed microphone and borrowed mic stands.
Right.
And so there's a number of things that we're still looking to kind of get set up a little bit more.
We'd rather have our own stuff and our own
to be able to ensure that we can bring this to you every week.
Because at any given moment, your friend could call and just say,
"We're down a microphone."
And we're just like,
we're sharing a microphone this week, Dan.
By the way, I'm not sure that I ever thanked Tom. Tom was one of our.
Thank you, Tom.
I like to call him out by name.
Absolutely.
Tom is a subscriber now.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, is it time for a break?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, folks. Hopefully you enjoy Pat Robertson as much as we do.
How can you not? This guy's amazing.
Every week, it's a juicy new bit of audio. And this one's just mind-blowing. And I think we're just going to play it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer than most that we tend to play, but it's
so worth it.
Pays off in miraculous ways.
Yes.
So here we go.
This is Michelle, who says, I have 3 teenage boys, and now 2 of them are questioning the Bible. This scares me. They tell me if the Bible is truth, then I should be able to reasonably explain the existence of dinosaurs. This is just one of many things they question. Even my husband is agreeing with them. How do I explain things to them that the Bible doesn't cover? I'm so afraid that they're walking away from God. My biggest fear is to not have my children and husband next to me in God's kingdom.
Look, I know people are probably trying to lynch me when I say this, but Bishop Usher, God bless him, wasn't inspired by the Lord when he said it all took 6,000 years. It just didn't. And you go back in time, you've got radiocarbon dating, you've got all these things, and you've got the carcasses of dinosaurs frozen in time out in the Dakotas. You know, they got Sioux, that big, what was it? You know, the fierce one. I'm sorry.
Is it a Tyrannosaurus?
Yeah, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I don't know if this one had a female name like Susie or something, but anyhow, they're out there. And so there was a time that these giant reptiles were on the earth, and it was before the time of the Bible. So don't try to cover it up and make like everything was 6,000 years. That's not the Bible. That's Bishop Ussher. And so if you fight revealed science, you're going to lose your children. And I believe in telling them the way it was.
Yeah.
What?
So he doesn't exactly have all his facts like all in a line, but he's it's the last thing I would have expected.
The
from
very
Pat
last
Robertson.
thing. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. He's not a young Earth creationist, apparently.
No, and believe me, there's tons who would be watching his show. So for him to come out and actually say,
well, and he
listen,
said they're gonna
there's
be
good
pissed
science.
off at me about
There
this.
is good science.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what
revealed
he's saying.
science.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
I'm just literally. I saw that, and smoke came out of my ears, and I had a little bit of a tiny little aneurysm. Not a big deal.
Okay, all right.
My God, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
I did not. That man, God bless him. I would love. You know, it's so funny because I put on the Facebook. By the way, everybody, if you go onto our Facebook, I'm now doing a thing. We'll see how many times I do this, but I'm now doing a thing where I'm putting up some surveys. I just think it's fun.
Yeah, a little survey.
So
See what you guys think.
I put up a survey that was who would you rather have a beer with?
Yeah.
And I put up a whole bunch of different guys.
Okay. And the very scientific results.
Oh, shoot. Okay, we'll do results. Let me pull this up. Yeah, I mean, because it was like you know, I put Jesus on the list, and I put guys like Chris Hitchens and Dawkins on the list,
but you also put Pat Robertson.
And I put Pat Robertson, who is the guy that I voted for.
Oh, okay.
Because
you took your own survey.
Yeah, I did. Okay. Sure.
All right.
Why not? Yeah. But yeah, we can remove my answer from the from
adjust the numbers.
Yeah, we'll make that. But somebody else also voted for Pat Robertson, which I think is great. Oh shoot, I'm not. Where are the surveys? My surveys. There we go. Sorry, I'm navigating a site that I haven't spent a lot of time on.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so this survey has Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and Pat Robertson and Mitt Romney just to see him drink beer. I thought I'd put Mitt Romney on there. Chris Hitchens is now officially in the lead with a third of all respondents deciding that they would have a beer with Chris Hitchens.
Of course.
In spite of the fact that I misspelled
it would
his
also name. With Chris Hitchens would not be just one beer.
No. Well, you could have just one beer. He'll have 11 scotches. But you know who the close second is on that?
Who?
Jesus.
Oh yeah, of course.
People want to have a beer with Jesus.
I just want to find out. I've got some questions to ask him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, beer is free because you can just get water and he'll just turn it into.
That's wine.
Well, I assume he can do beer too.
You know.
Plus, I like wine. It's fine.
I'm going to side with Ratzinger on this one. I'm going to say it's not in the Gospels. He does wine.
You Bible literalist, you.
Yeah, he does wine. There's nothing in the Bible about him doing beer. I'm not going to expect it. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah, we got one person who wants Pope Benedict, who would drink a beer with Pope Benedict. Dawkins comes on there. Somebody voted for Mittens, and then I did put a place where people could put their own answers.
Oh, okay.
And
sure.
And so Ellen DeGeneres made that.
That's a good one. I'd want to have a beer with
Pope John Paul. I can see that one. Pope John Paul. Someone said Rasputin.
Wow.
Which that would be an interesting drink.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
Probably a beer in your face.
A beer floating through the air with occultic power. I had to look up a couple of the people. Somebody put
funny.
Alberto Santos Dumont. Do you know who that is?
No.
I had to look him up. He's like a Portuguese guy who flew dirigibles around Paris back in the turn of the century.
Great. Fantastic.
He's an aviation guy. I like
Love
that.
it. Love it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, we have a voicemail we should probably listen to.
Yeah, let's listen to that. I'm excited.
Okay.
I love
All right.
voicemails.
Hey guys, this is Tom in New Mexico. 2 things about the 10 Commandments. First of all, how important can they be? Jesus was asked repeatedly about God's commandments in Mark 12, and he never got close to 10. Wouldn't the all-knowing God know his own rules? And second, what kind of God would include coveting, but say nothing about sex with children? I'd like to know what 10 things you guys would include if you were writing the 10 Commandments. Love your show. Thanks.
All right. This is I love this question.
Well done.
Yeah. And it actually kind of got us going in a couple different directions.
Yeah.
And should we immediately answer the question with our lists?
Well, yeah. So what we did, we actually, every now and then we'll actually do a thing. We'll actually do something. So we actually sat down and wrote out our 10 Commandments.
We haven't shared these yet.
No, we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to be on each other's lists of 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
But I also thought that I found it interesting to just think about, what if we wanted to create a religion from whole cloth?
Well, okay, that's funny. I kind of, once you said that, I took it a slightly different direction.
Okay, cool.
Which was, I played a little game of designing my own God.
Right, and that's where it came from.
And saying, like, in a world where I could pick a God and like would want, what God would I want to be subject to?
Right.
Okay.
So let's start with our top 10 lists.
Oh, okay.
And,
All right.
and then we'll play build a God. It's like Build a Bear, only design your own God from scratch.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
so what does your list look like?
Well, first of all, I kind of took a note from Tom.
Okay.
Which is where Jesus started with like the golden rule.
Okay.
Right. And so I wanted to acknowledge that in my own religion, the golden rule would reign supreme.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's critical. That's important. The golden rule is fantastic. Every culture.
You might want to say the golden rule just so that we understand.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you is the
Right.
basic gist of the golden rule.
Makes sense.
And every society has basically come up with some version of this.
Right.
To kind of define the core of its ethical values.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, well, how would I design up more additional rules that I really wanted just to say, right? Things that I felt that were important that needed to actually be mentioned.
Sure.
Because you can live a good, decent life just with the golden rule.
Yeah.
You can kind of,
It's pretty strong.
it's really good. You can logically come up with,
It gets mired down when you get into more complex situations.
Sure.
So,
And these were things that I felt then needed to be mentioned.
right.
My first one, and I should also say that my goal was to have no thou shalt nots.
Oh, okay.
These are all just things to do.
Okay.
So I guess this is thou shalt protect each other's freedom.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Thou shalt give to the poor.
Yeah.
Okay. Thou shalt provide national health care.
Okay.
Okay.
This is interesting. You and I are lining up on a lot of these
Really?
things. Yeah.
Thou shalt provide. Thou shalt keep religion out of politics.
Okay.
Okay. Thou shalt proselytize your faith only to people who have asked about it.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Thou shalt hold thy belief no higher than anyone else's.
Okay.
Okay. Thou shalt build community centers that have no reference to me. I am thy God and am fully confident in my status. You don't need to name drop. Thou shalt forget about me and live your life.
Okay.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Thou shalt celebrate the arts.
Okay.
And
Nice.
thou shalt trust the scientific method.
I like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So those are my 10.
Oh, good. I like that scientific method one. That's fun. That's fun. Although, what if something better comes along? What if, well, I don't know. I don't predict what that is, but what if something better than
this was God speaking to us today.
Right.
In our time.
Although what we see tending to happen is that, something that's meant for a time tends to get canonized and suddenly it's for everybody forever. But that's okay.
That's what happens.
That's what happens. So mine were designed mostly out of I tried to be more universal. I tried to be more timeless in mine.
Okay.
And mine are mine I guess got sort of segmented off into sections.
Oh, okay.
So section 1, my top commandment, and it's basically the same as yours. I worded it a little cheesily. It had to come out cheesy. Just because this was what felt like the right thing for me.
Okay.
Love fearlessly. That's my top commandment. Okay, Frank, you guys should see the... But here's the thing. All laws, rules, and guidelines and for all things should be based primarily on love for each other. I'm sorry. I'm a hippie if you want to call me a hippie. It's the same thing as the golden rule. It just doesn't sound... Yours didn't sound quite as hippie. But I'm sorry. That's where I think it comes from.
Okay. I'm not laughing at you, Dan.
Frank is anti-love, everybody. That's so mean. I'm sorry. I knew I had to be honest with myself about what I thought was the most important thing, and I think everybody loving everybody.
Oh yeah.
I'm with Jesus on that one.
Sure.
That's Jesus.
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Yeah. I think that's the best thing he came up with.
Golden rule. That's not the golden rule.
No.
I had the golden rule right.
Yeah, but I think that's the best thing Jesus came up with, and I'm stealing it.
Okay, cool.
The second one is along the same lines. Property and power are less important than community, science, and people fucking act like it.
Okay.
Science. I didn't say science. I didn't mean science. I meant society. Community, society, and people.
Oh, okay.
Property and power.
A little bit more sense.
Yeah. Property and power are less important than community, science, and people. So
Okay.
you have to fucking act like it.
Okay.
So that's section 1. Those two. Section 2, under the subheading, everyone is of equal value and must be taken care of. Therefore, my third commandment is, as long as there is enough food and water that everyone can eat and drink, everyone must be provided sustenance.
Okay.
Number 4, everyone must be afforded medical care regardless of place or station. This includes mental and emotional care.
Okay.
Number 5, if someone is unable or even unwilling to take care of themselves, society must care for them, no exceptions.
Okay. All right. Like it.
My next section is the rules section. Because while everyone is of equal value, not everyone is of equal social fitness. And this section starts out with all of the ones in this section start out with the word usually ...
Okay.
Usually, it's not okay to kill other people.
Okay.
Usually, it's not okay to steal stuff that the community recognizes as belonging to someone else, or to deprive someone else of that which they have earned or need.
Okay.
Usually, it's not okay to take actions that hurt others on a small or large scale, which includes, causing someone unwanted physical or emotional pain, but also stuff like polluting the air and causing a bunch of emphysema or whatever.
Sure. Okay. All right.
Usually, it's not okay to infringe on the reasonable freedoms of others.
Okay.
And my 10th commandment is that olives are gross and nobody's allowed to eat them anymore.
So you actually brought in a dietary
Yeah, I thought,
issue.
you know what? If
God likes to mess with people's diet.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
I'm banning olives. You can't have them. I was tempted to make everybody wear something too, but no, I'm just getting rid of olives.
In the book of Leviticus.
Daniel chapter 3.
Oh,
yeah.
I was trying to do Leviticus. Right?
Leviticus.
Leviticus. Yes.
Anyway. There you go. Those so I think there was a lot of intersections.
There were a couple.
I
was typically much more succinct than
Have you read the 10 Commandments in the Bible? They're not succinct.
Well, but this was I was doing the essence of
I feel like I only elaborated when it was useful.
Oh, okay.
Thou
that's
shalt
good.
not kill. I put that in there.
So what is your God?
Well, so I thought about this. And as I thought about it, psychologically speaking, I couldn't get around the fact that I wanted my God to be humanoid, to be a person, essentially. I think that that's really what it needs to be. But I don't like the idea of, then I thought male or female, sort of, and I decided I wanted a female God.
Okay,
I felt like a nurturer. Was a good choice. So I got a woman. She's a nurturer. I haven't gone. I mean, I don't think race is an important issue with a God, and I certainly don't think that that looks are that important.
Sure,
she can sort of look however you need her to look. But that was where I started. I wanted a nurturing, loving God. Okay, and I wanted that to feel feminine.
Well, I want my God is a little bit more specific than yours. Mine is a black lesbian who doesn't give a shit.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that.
Because I approached it from, well, we got this white male,
right?
Obviously heterosexual,
right? Yeah.
Who is too involved.
Yeah, he's just not anymore. He really kind of stopped doing
but
sticking his finger in.
He bothered with writing a bunch of laws, and so he obviously cares, about all this stuff. I mean, that's the gist of any Christian.
He was
faith,
a total he was a social experimenter back in the Old Testament. He was
in the mix.
He was just trying shit out, just see what happens. I don't know. We'll just let everybody. Oh no, now they're going crazy. I'll just kill all of them and start over with a new batch.
And then I decided that I want adherents of this faith to only attend church twice a year, because I figure that's sort of a default number that people are comfortable with.
Okay.
Right? And instead of it actually being like church, it's a feast with your friends.
Okay.
And only those family members you like, and who accept you for who you are.
Right.
And you eat, you drink, you sing songs, you break things. There's drunk fireworks in the street, and you watch YouTube videos.
Okay. That sounds like a fun time. I think you may have made a calculated error. However, I think psychologically what you needed to do was command that everyone go to church, or say everyone should go to church much more than 2 times. But have only 2 required times. Because if you have only 2 times, period.
So there is church going on all the time, and if you want or /need more than that, you can.
Right. And that way you've got you build a community or whatever, but there's 2 required time. Plus, if you only do the 2 times, then the people who don't go to church really will forget about it. They'll lose track. They won't feel that obligation that they'll feel if there's church all the time. But at very least, you have to go these 2 times.
Right. Okay.
But then again, your church sounds like such a fun party that why wouldn't you go?
Well, yeah, exactly. You do it twice a year, and because anything more would be seriously bad for your health.
Right.
So,
I think my church is literally just I mean, we're coming at this as atheists, so this is every time I imagine church, I'm like, nope, no church. My church is no church. But then again, I do really love the idea of, there being a requirement that people get together, serve each other, help each other. You know what I mean? All of those things really appeal to me.
Oh, so it's very Sikh. Your church sounds Sikh to me.
I know very little about how Sikh church operates.
Well, they go and they do their little churchy thing, whatever it is. I'm not very clear on that, but I know that then they have a communal meal, and everybody is required to. First of all, Sikhs sort of they're very much about equality, right? Right. Especially amongst the classes. Right. They don't have class divisions. Right. And obviously, coming from the part of the world that Sikhs do, you can see why that would be an issue. And so they've said no class distinctions. And so when they're serving the meal, everybody has to participate. And it doesn't matter whether you're the wealthiest member of the congregation, you might end up clearing people's plates and washing them, and so it's very much everybody's involved, everybody's doing it, they're helping each other out.
Sure,
they're just involved, and
I can get behind that.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I like that. Yeah, so
I like the headwear.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to wear a hat all the time.
No, and
the whole not cutting your hair thing.
Yeah, I really need to be able to cut my hair. That's just not.
They carry a little ceremonial knife with them everywhere.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's fun.
I literally, I think it would be important to me that there be community for those who want it. Mm-hmm. You know, a place to gather and a place to talk to each other and people who care.
Right.
And that's about it. You know, caring for each other, programs to help everybody.
Programs to hurt everybody?
To hurt everybody. Programs for hurting. I mean, you know, you could have a fight club in the basement. That's fine. I don't mind that. And a bowling alley. I think there should be a bowling alley.
It has to be a bowling alley?
We reported on bowling alleys in churches. I had never been aware of that before.
Right.
I want there to be a bowling alley in the church.
Okay. All right. You get a bowling alley.
Everybody puts a bowling alley. Or, you know, if bowling's not part of, you know, in Canada, it can be a curling lane.
There you go.
Or something.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think those are nice. I think these are nice religions. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The Church of Dan and the Church of Frank.
Yeah.
Maybe the next poll will be: are you joining the Church of Dan or the Church of Frank? Maybe we'll put
Mine
that.
sounds a lot more fun than yours.
I haven't sorted out the fun stuff yet. Yeah. Although I do have bowling alley. We have bowling.
Yeah, well, we have an awesome kick-ass feast.
Drunken debauchery.
Yeah.
You have drunken debauchery. This is how you're bringing people to your church. You're bribing them with drunken debauchery. You're like, here, have some sacramental wine. No,
here,
have some sacramental
burn
whiskey.
yourself with these fireworks.
Right, have some
drunk.
Sacramental gin, sacramental whiskey. It doesn't matter. Just get drunk. Sacramental drunkenness. Do it in the name of me, Frank. All right, everybody, go out there and drink in the name of Frank.
Yeah,
that's what we're encouraging.
Yeah, so go ahead and like us on Facebook.
Oh yeah, do that.
Facebook.com/TGIAtheist is how you find us, and you can email us if you'd like to ask us a question or comment on something.
Mm-hmm.
That's podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Right, or you can leave a voicemail like our friend Tom did today. By calling our voicemail number, which is 424-666-TGIA, which is 424-666-8442.
That's correct. All right. Well, thank you, guys.
Hey, have a good holiday season, everybody.
Bye-bye.